Hi friends, I'm Gormley and welcome back to my channel. My goal today is to commiserate with you about Tunisian lace. It's not just you. Now, I don't believe in cancel culture, so I am covering up the source of this material because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, because the truth is that Tunisian lace is hard. And many of you, like me, have years of experience with crochet, and yet there's some patterns that are just really perplexing. And so I wanted to take a few moments to talk with you about a pattern I was working on for this morning's video. And I thought, oh, this will be easy. Famous last words. Let me pull out a very reputable Tunisian book. Let me make the swatch. Let me then teach it on camera, and I'll give a shout out to the designer and the author and the editor and the book and that kind of thing. And, you know, an hour and a half later, I'm thinking, this can't be right. And this is, I know, an experience that many of you have had over the years, and it's one of your major frustrations. So let's talk about this just a little bit. So I found this really lovely pattern, this very lovely Tunisian lace pattern. Yay! And I'm thinking, okay, and I'm chugging right along, following the written instructions. They match up with the diagram pretty well. I'm thinking, I think I maybe found an error, but I'm not sure. It could be me, it could be you, but it could be me. You know, you never know. Maybe the asterisks are in the wrong spot for one of these things, but I didn't even write it down because I think it's often, the perspective is, from a designer's perspective, when there's an error or someone like emails us, it's like, well, just follow exactly word for word and it'll make sense. And often that is absolutely true. There's been times when I have followed patterns and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. But if you just follow it exactly word for word, letter for letter, it really does turn out okay. And the designer just has a totally different way of thinking than we do, and we end up learning something cool. And then there's other times where I'm left scratching my head thinking, but it doesn't match. Like, I don't get it. So for example, on this pattern, it says repeat rows 2 through 5 for pattern. So if I'm looking at the pattern and I'm supposed to be repeating rows 2 for 5 for the pattern, then the 6th row should be the same as the 2nd row, because you're repeating this section over and over again. So if I compare row 2 to row 6, it doesn't match, because this yarn over and Tunisian simple 2 together should be right up here, right? Right? I mean, in theory, shouldn't this be a match? Shouldn't this be, in essence, a row 2? So is it a problem with the written pattern? Or is it a pattern problem with the diagram? Or is it both? So in this instance, in some ways it's helpful to have a diagram, because maybe there's a problem with the pattern, or maybe vice versa, and you can kind of do a double take. But if both are wrong, and I'm not saying they are, it's possible that they are correct and I am wrong, or I'm misinterpreting it. But I've spent some time trying to figure this out and have not yet gotten it. So I'm not throwing the author or the designer under the bus. I'm not even throwing myself under the bus, because it's possible that all the pieces of information are not yielding us the right results. Okay, so get to the point, Ellen. The point is that Tunisian lace is hard. And while this was a pattern that I was actually thinking I was getting just by looking at the diagram, like I was following the diagram and I was following the written instructions, and I like, oh, this is pretty cool. I think I got this. I'm getting it now. Like, it makes sense. These are Tunisian simple stitch 2 together. This is a yarn over. This is a full stitch. Like, I'm getting it. No problem. And then it gets to repeat rows 2 through 5. And so the 6th row should be a row 2, which it's not. I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe they mean they made a mistake here. So then I'm like, so let's give this a try. So then looking at the photo really closely, let's see here. My section looks like the part under the point here. Let's get you a nice good focus. The part under the point here looks like Tunisian simple stitches. Here's a 3 together, here's a 3 together, here's a 3 together. So there should be 1, 2, 3 together. There should be rows on top of each other that have 3 together maybe, but there's only one row on the diagram that has a 3 together, and that's row 5. Okay, so I don't know. I'm just not sure. It just doesn't feel like my swatch looks like the diagram. It is making these lovely triangular points up and down here. It is looking like, okay, there's a full stitch, there's a Tunisian simple, there's a Tunisian full in the space. Okay, but this one is looking less pyramid-like and more graceful in how it comes across. I'm just not seeing it. Anyway, I'm going to keep working with this pattern because it might be really worth it. And if it ends up being correct, I'll reveal the source. But if it's not correct, I don't want to throw them under the bus because, you know, it's rough. So I think I'm going to keep working with this. But I'm a little suspicious because I feel like there's an error with the diagram, which, okay, it happens. I can deal with it. I'll just draw on it and make it how I think is correct. No big deal. I can keep moving. I can be resilient. I can go with the flow. But then there was also I forget which row because I didn't write it down because I didn't trust my gut and think, you know what? I think these stars, the double star, let's see, I forget which row it was. I think it had to have been row 2 or 3 where I think it was row 3, where it said ending last repeat at star star. I feel like the stars should have been moved from here to here. So I'm going to go play with this some more. What do you think? Do you also have these frustrations? So it's not just you. But it's not necessarily the designer either. I've had plenty of experiences where if I just read it carefully, I'd get it. So what do you think? Leave some comments in the description below. Is this worth trying to decipher? Should I just write my own pattern from here? What would you do? Would you scrap the whole thing? Would you go back and just try, and what I actually did was I just tried to go back to a row 1 and creating that foundation again. But then I couldn't even come up with the right number of loops on the hook. So it's going to take a little bit of mental gymnastics to figure this one out, but it might be worth it. So anyway, here's a little fun video for you. Hopefully it's not too aggravating for you, but it's a cool pattern. So I might keep going and see what I can figure out, but I wanted to get you something on this Saturday morning and show you it's not just you. You're not dumb if you can't figure out a Tunisian lace pattern. And the designer's not dumb, and the author's not dumb, but let's figure this out together, shall we? Thank you so much for watching. Here are some tried and true Tunisian lace patterns, and here's some other Tunisian, how to read Tunisian helpers so that you can maybe not have the problem that I am having today. Thanks so much. See you soon.